Steve wants to know, is it heat or UV light damaging his pesticides? Pull out your hose and grab your can. We're about to integrate another Pest Geek podcast. Hi, everybody. Frank Hernandez here, and welcome to the Pest Geek podcast, bringing you the latest information on pests, products, and politics from today's leading industry sources to help you start, manage, and grow your pest control business. Hey, welcome to another edition of the Pest Geek podcast. Happy Monday to you all. I'm Frank Hernandez, your Pest Geek. I'm just having a blast doing what I do. And this week we got a great question from Steve. He called in to our question line and asked the question, is it heat or UV light damaging his pesticide? And we're going to get into that. But if you want to be a guest on the program, you want to ask a question, you just want to talk about what's going on in the pest industry, or simply you just want to tell me, look, Frank, you're full of it. Hey, give me a call. I put you on the air. The number to call is 707-395-7378. 707-395-7378. It's 24-hour available line that is, you can leave a pre-recorded message, and we'll put it on the air, and we'll talk about it on this, because it does help a lot of people to take a different look, a different view. Maybe in a certain part of the country, you will be exposed to different things, and I think that's vitally important that we all talk about those issues. I want to give a special shout out to Michael Phillips and Preston Dean for passing their EPA agent exam on the first try. Congratulations to you guys. They work at Marty Dean's Pest Control in Beebe, Arkansas. And by the way, I looked at their website. Man, nice website. Nice branding on that site. Blue is the new green. So they got a great site. Congratulations to you guys for doing that. And it's really exciting to see people just getting ahead, finding new ways and new things that they're doing in pest control to make a difference. And not only that, but to enrich their lives and enrich the lives of other people. So congratulations. If you want to follow us on Facebook, I mean, we're getting people following us on Facebook and following the podcast from all over the world. So we're getting, emails and calls from as far as India, Pakistan, people just liking the podcast and listening to it. I'm glad that we're able to help some people out there, because in a lot of parts of the world, guys, we don't have the luxuries we have here in this country to access to just about any chemical that you want and any tactic that you want to control it. A lot of places are very limited. So thank God that we're able to help them. And also, you can follow us on Twitter. Just look up Pest Geek Podcast on either Facebook or Twitter and follow us there. Check it out. And we're getting a lot of likes on our content that we're putting out on Twitter. And people are really liking that. So thank you. Thank you for sharing it, liking it, and letting us know about it. Also, you can follow us on the World Wide Web at pestgeekpodcast.com. And that's all one word, pestgeekpodcast.com. And you can listen to us right now we're on Stitcher, we're on iTunes, and we're also on our website. And there on the website, you can get other stuff that's permanent versus the stuff we put out on social media, which might be, if you miss us for a couple of days, about 1 million things went by. So, it's just really neat to be able to do what I do and enjoy it as much as I do. And also, if you're like listening, I mean, I know that people who listen to podcasts don't listen to one podcast. They listen to a slurry of podcasts from all different things because they like it. I mean, I have one radio station on my car, in my truck, in my van that I listen to, and that's pretty much 610 WIOD here in Miami. It's talk radio. I've been listening to talk radio since I was like in my teens. I don't listen to a lot of music. I like music. My daughter gets in my car and she's like, "Daddy, can you change it and put on some music?" And I said, "That is music. It's music to me, and I enjoy listening." So if you're like me and you like listening, the next best thing that I've ever found was audiobooks on tape, when I used to use them on tape, and now I just have them on my iPhone. So, hey, you can help support the podcast by going to audibletrial.com/pestgeek. You get a free trial. You get 30 days. You get a free download, and you can check it out to see if you like it. I just recently downloaded a book that I'm listening to now on statistics regarding how dating sites used analytics and data to predict who they're able to match up people with. And I think it's just a fascinating study. I'm going to reveal the name of the book once I'm done with it, if I really think it's really that good. And you guys can listen to it. But it's great to apply it to understanding how people behave on the web and what their behaviors are like, and to be able to then understand and market to them using that information. So I think that's just marvelous that's out there. Again, audibletrial.com/PexI. There's a link on our website, and there's also a link on the show notes. And, check it out and see if you like it, and, hope you enjoy it. Also, if you, I give you a tech tip of the week that I'm doing. And if you got a website, whether it's a WordPress website or another type of website, and you get people that come on there, but you never know when they're on, and you never know what they're looking for, and whether you can engage with them or not. There's a great little app that is from Formilia, which is a chat app for your website. And you install it. When somebody comes on, then they get a pop-up message that says, hey, we're here. Would you like to talk to us about, your problems? And then I get immediately, when somebody goes on my website, they got an app for iPhone, and I think they might have one also for Android. And every time somebody comes on my website, I get a notification. I get a ring, a tone that I can format it. And then I can look at my phone and decide whether I need to engage with that person or not. Why? Because we get people on our website from all over the world. If there's a guy out in Russia that is looking for some information, or maybe looking to market to me, I'm not going to engage him in a conversation unless, he engages me, and then I will go ahead and respond. But if I see that it's somebody locally that is on, and they're looking at my services page, I'm immediately going to engage that person and say, I understand you're looking at this type of service. How can I help you? Can I answer any questions? I would be glad to give you a consultation, whatever it is. And that just makes I've gotten some business from that, because people want a quote, they just don't want to talk on the phone. They rather text or email. And that's just a way of people protecting themselves. But if you can engage them in a conversation, it is just awesome. It's about $12 a month for the premium plan. The cheap plan, I think they got a free plan that's limited, but it's not really that expensive. It's under $15. I think it's like somewhere between 12 and 14, somewhere on there. Great tool. Awesome to be able to engage people. So that's our tech tip of the week. And I'm going to bring on the question that Steve has about is it heat or UV light? Listen to the question.
Hey, Frank, this is Steve Jackson, regular listener of the show. First off, let me compliment you on your interviewing skills. Interviewing is much harder than most people realize, and especially when the record button is on. And you did a great job with Ian McGuire. So kudos to both of you. He was wonderfully transparent and insightful. So great job. Now for my question. This summer up here in South Georgia, I used a new product on the market that is really good for bed bugs. And the label says that heat from a steamer will not kill the residual of the product. So because of that, being the summertime, I figured that I'd get more life on my exterior treatments if I used this particular product, but that clearly wasn't the case. So my question is heat killing the residual of the product, or is it the sun's UV rays? Thanks for your help.
That is a very, very, very thoughtful question, because most people have not considered that, and they don't. And the fact that he's making the association, because obviously they're probably doing steaming to take care of bed bugs, in addition to using a pyrethroid and other chemicals, which is great in IPM and controlling bed bugs. Then he says, well, let me just use it outside and see if it works. And a lot of people don't understand degradation with certain pesticides, and every single pesticide, as far as I can tell, especially pyrethroids and chemicals manufactured, are going to have some type of degradation. And the reason I found the question so interesting is because he's obviously more into GHP, general household pests, and doing bed bugs, and I come from mainly a lawn and ornamental pest control, and that is a constant question that we always have to ask: how long does before it photodegradates? Because if it's on a leaf, we apply it now, we know that photodegradation is going to be very quick, and if we want some residual, we got to try to use the product that has the longest residual. So, I think that was a very, very thoughtful question. I had to then sit back and analyze what he's telling me, because he doesn't tell me the active ingredient. In order for you to do a degradation study, you need an active ingredient. So I didn't have the active ingredient of the product or the brand to be able to, make a for certain definite diagnosis of what he's using. But knowing that most of the products that are on the market are either one of two things for exterior applications. They're either pyrethroid, or they're a neonicotinoid, or they're a combination product, or it's going to be a product like Cymexa. Now, that was my original thinking. He's using it, but why would he be using it on the outside? Because Cymexa give you a 10-year warranty, or they say it lasts for up to 10 years undisturbed in an undamp environment. So if it doesn't get wet, it can last a very long time. Obviously, it's a desiccant and it absorbs. So I don't think he's putting this out there. So I ruled that out, but that was my original thought. So then I said, well, it has to be one of these three products. So I said, let me start tackling the product from a, bifenthrin. What do we know about the active ingredients in a lot of these products and how they degrade? And I did a show back on the fate of pesticides and understanding the importance of fate. So if you go to the Pest Geek podcast and you look up the fate of products, that is going to give you a complete understanding, because there's three basic ways that a product degradates. A product is going to degrade either by pH, microbial activity in the soil, water could degrade a product, and also UV light. UV light is the most common degradator of a product. So they do a lot of studies in under UV light and under sunlight. Okay, and there's a big difference between something that is done in a laboratory with under UV light, which the intensity can be either increased or decreased. And then therefore decide at how many, based on light spectrum and all this, they can do a lot of analysis on dissipation and things like that. And I said, well, let's look at the two questions, because he had two questions. It can handle heat. Well, all products are going to be able to handle heat in some way. The question is always, how much heat can it handle before it breaks down? In the case of a product commonly used, like bifenthrin, if you're doing a pizza oven in a restaurant that's coal-fired and you're putting that product around it, probably not. So again, the heat can be broken down. It's just at what temperature is that heat breaking that product down. Most products are designed to handle normal environmental heat. Okay, the stuff on the market is, the asphalt, the putting it around a perimeter of a slab or a concrete or pavers or lawn. It's going to be able to handle that temperature, which usually is 100 degrees, 98 degrees, 100. If you're in Arizona, it's a lot hotter in the summer than it is here in South Florida. So you can have, temperatures on the asphalt over 100 degrees very easily. If you're from Georgia, there's an old saying in Georgia, it's hotter than a Georgia asphalt. So I guess asphalt in Georgia gets pretty hot during the summer, but it can handle it just fine. So the question then is really, he noticed that when he did it outside, he didn't get long-term control. And I got to assume that he's monitoring on a regular basis to realize this, because how would we realize that he's not getting the control is either a callback or monitoring. So let's look at a product like just look at 2-neonicotinoids. I got a couple of studies that I was able to put together on the show notes on the podcast, and one of them is the effects of light on the degradation of 2-neonicotinoids, acetamiprid and thiacloprid in soil. So they're measuring UV light in soil. Here's what they found out. If they put the acetamiprid under UV light, okay, under UV rays in a lab, they got 11 to 12 days before this product broke down. Under sunlight, normal sunlight, outside, they got 25 and 19 days. So the acetamiprid lasted longer outside in the soil, and the other one got 19 days. And in the laboratory under UV light, it broke down at 11 days, and the other one got 12.8 days. So more than 95% of the acetamiprid dissipated in 24 hours, which compared to the 70% of the thiacloprid. 2 systemic insecticides. And they only in 24 hours, 70% of it was gone based on this study. This study is published on NCBI, the NIH, the PubMed.gov site, and I'll put you a link to it so you can see it. So just heat and light are not the same thing. And even if it's indoor light and you have some UV rays in indoor light, and it's exposed from incandescent light or actually, I'm sorry, the white bulbs that they're using now. I just lost my train of thought with that one, but you're going to have some type of degradation. Another study that I looked at is, well, let's look at another product. One of the ones I did look at is the imidacloprid in the soil. Now, imidacloprid has, bifenthrin. And it has a very, very good UV light resistance and a very good thermal resistance. So one of the things is, if you use, let's say, a combination product, do you get better results? Maybe yes, maybe no. And let's talk a little bit about combination products, because they're new on the market. And this goes back to one of my original podcasts that we did a couple of weeks back, Yo, It Ain't Us, and how we're really 1% of the pest control, residential pest control, commercial pest control is really about 1% of the market overall compared to agriculture and a lot of do-it-yourself products. So what happens is agriculture is seen a bit of a reduction in the amount of pesticides used. The majority of the pesticide, the number one, is still herbicides. And what happens is there isn't a real big market for new products to come out into the marketplace with new active ingredients. There's always reformulations, and they take an existing active ingredient and they add it to a bait, an existing added ingredient, and then they might add it to a granule. And it's not really a new product. It's just a new way to reformulate that active ingredient. And a lot has happened with a lot of the systemic products, and a lot of the bringing in a combination product with a systemic and a pyrethroid. And I don't personally use them. I can't justify the cost in using those products for what I do, which is ornamentals, because if I take a product and I do a foliar application of a systemic, I might get some, penetration into that leaf, but it's not going to be compared to what I get if I do a drench or if I do a root injection or a trunk injection. So the systemic action really is very limited. It acts the same way on contact with foliar if you're doing shrubs and you have an ant problem, you're going to get pretty much the same activity that you do with a contact insecticide. It's going to behave as a contact insecticide. I know they claim it has systemic, but the question is how much of it. I mean, if you do foliar spray with imidacloprid, you're not going to get a systemic action. You got to get a lot of it to dump into the ground to get the systemic action. So, with these new products and not having a big market to bring a brand new chemical into the market that costs, about $1.5 billion to bring to market, you're just not going to see a lot of new products. So what you're seeing is a lot of reformulations of products. And what I always try to teach and what I always try to apply is just because a product is labeled for something doesn't mean it's the most effective use of that product. And usually when I have conversations with manufacturers reps or the rep for the company, I usually have targeted questions about the product on specifically, and they know their product better than I do. Okay, so they really do know their product. One person is a salesperson at a distributor, and another thing is to talk to the rep that works for that company. And I usually try to talk to that rep or call the company up and the manufacturer and ask pointed questions. If I'm making a blank application for this particular insect, for this particular site, what is the best product that you recommend for that application? Because they might have 3 products, all with the insect and the site on the label, but it's not necessarily the best use of that product for that particular application. And I am big on targeted applications. I focus on, what is the best product that's going to solve this problem to knock it out with the least amount of applications, the least amount of active ingredient, the least amount of work, because I rather do that than to just try to I applied this and then I applied that. In the case of bed bugs, in his situation, we know that with bed bugs, you can't just use one product. You got to use many different products and many different procedures to get real good control because just of the nature of the resistance with a lot of products that bed bugs have. So, having said that, the UV light breakdown is a serious problem with every single product. There is no one product that's just going to last 90 days. I mean, I have products that are micro-encapsulated that say they last 90 days, up to 90 days. Now, up to could be 30 days because here in South Florida, we have high pH soils, which break down a product. There's nematodes in our soil. Very little bacterial activity, not so much because of the type of soil that we have. We have a lot of light and we have a lot of water falling down. So, and then on top of that, there's not a lot of lawns around these properties because we have a lot of pavers and a lot of concrete that people put around the property to walk on and pavers. And we know that concrete is highly alkaline. So when they come and tell me that a microencapsulated product is going to last me 90 days in the middle of the summer, when I get 40 inches of rain in 3 months, I know for a fact it isn't. It's where they tested it, how they tested it, and if you do it indoors behind a wall that there is no humidity, you could get 90 days. But not outside. Just too many things that affect a product that is outside of your control, that you cannot just assume it's going to work because the manufacturer says. Where was it tested? How was it tested? So I look at sites like NPIC, which is npic.orst.edu, for pesticide information and the fate of these pesticides, the modes of action, how these behave. I use that site extensively to doing research on chemicals. So when I get a rep or all of a sudden my distributor calls, hey, I got this exciting new product that works great like this, this, and this, and this, I immediately say, okay, let me get the information. And I immediately go and start doing research on it because I need to know, he's all enthusiastic about making the sale and selling a new product and promoting it. And I'm more enthusiastic about understanding how that product works and what is the best use of that product because I don't do blanket applications. I don't carry around a 600-gallon tank or 100-gallon tank, and then I fill it in the morning and I spray everything with that. I don't do that. Some companies do. Most of the good people that I know that do this business don't do that. So, finding a product that's going to solve, it's a miracle that's going to solve all my products, the greatest thing since sliced bread and sliced cheese, just doesn't really exist. And I don't buy marketing. I buy results. And a lot of people just get all cut up in the marketing and the bullet points and this, that, and the other. And you really do have to do a lot of work. What is the fate of that product, and do a lot of work on what that product does in the soil, in the air. There's so many things that are different where you are than where I am. And so I think that is the best answer that I can give you on that type of question is you really have to do the research. Obviously, evaluation, documentation. I used it on such a date, and I'm still seeing these trails. I'm still seeing this. Documentation is very, very important when you're applying a product to know how that product is working. And obviously, there's a big difference between having one person in your company, you, who's an expert, and having maybe 100 technicians on the road, where that becomes a little bit more difficult. So, I do appreciate the question, Steve. I hope that I've been able to answer the question the best way that I can, based on the information that I got. Again, it's not picking on a specific product. One of the things that I appreciate about good reps is they tell me, look, Frank, reality is this product is great for this, this, and this. It's got all these other insects on the label. We got them on there, but the best use of this product is for this. And I'm much more appreciative that they're honest and with me about it and say, that is the best recommendation I can make you. And I also will ask them, okay, now you have this product and so has this product. What is the difference? The fundamental difference between your product and their product. And then I make those evaluations based on those two products, two different active ingredients. But they tell me, one rep tells me this is the best product I have for this application. The other one tells me, and I say, okay, what is, in your opinion, this? What is, and I ask them, what is the photo degradation? I ask them things that most people would not think to ask. And sometimes they have to tell me, look, I really don't have the answer to that. I have to get back to you. And then most of the time I'll go out and do the research myself. So guys, hey, it's been an awesome podcast. Thank you for listening. Thank you for the tweets. Thank you for the Facebook interaction. Thank you for listening. I really do appreciate this. You guys have an awesome week. Thank you for listening to the Pest Geek Podcast. If you have enjoyed the Pest Geek Podcast, please give us a rating, write a review, or subscribe to the channel. You can join the Pest Geek Society by visiting pestgeekpodcast.com. Thank you for listening. See you next time.